what's up, my boy?
What's
How you
good,
feeling,
bro?
Kay? How's
I'm
life
feeling
been for
great.
you?
Life has been fucking fantastic, man.
No, we're back and noted, so welcome back. Hope you've seen our page, what we're trying to do here. And so you know what that means for you,
Right.
We're here to, give you a voice, shout out your opinion on, everything that's going on in the scene. But I guess to start off, like, where are you from?
I'm actually from the Bay Area in California.
Damn.
I grew up in a suburb of Oakland, but like it's definitely like a very like liminal type space to grow up. It's like a lot of strip malls. Like everyone's sort of like driving around, but it's like I was never like in the city, right? So I think like it was definitely just like a suburbia type like growth, But I think there's something like very beautiful about like that whole atmosphere, right? Because like when you grow up in this like sort of like absence of a culture, you you and like your friends and wherever you're growing up, you like make a culture in that area, right? Because it was just like strip malls and like hills, bro. But it's cool. It's cool. I fuck with it.
But I say so, like, I from what I remember, Oakland was always like inner city. Last time I heard of Oakland, I've never been to California myself, so like I be thinking of like Marshawn Lynch and like these little trenches area and stuff like that. So like I guess like how did that help you, grow as a person?
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like I can never really like claim Oakland like that because I never like lived directly in the city. Oakland is definitely my like favorite city in the Bay Area by far. Just given the fact that like it's like history is critical. I went to high school in Oakland. They like the music is like phenomenal, you know. But like Lake Merritt, shout out Lake Merritt. Shout out that whole like area. I just I think like growing up in Oakland definitely like taught me like damn, bro. Shit, that's actually a profound question that I should prepare better for.
It's a little bit deeper.
But no, I feel the whole Bay Area, right? The question is more about the whole Bay Area. What does it mean to me? I don't think I'll ever like go back to settle there, right? Because like a part of me felt like it was never home to me like I feel like the DMV was.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up there and like I have like a lot of love for the Bay Area, but I think like immediately coming to the DMV, I realized like I like everywhere, right? Like Virginia, DC, like Maryland, going up to Laurel, everything is so like interconnected in a way that like the Bay, or honestly most places in California cannot be, right? Like the Bay and LA are basically, both of those places are like 5 cities in one, right? It's like a car-driven hellscape, and like you can't like walk around like you can in DC. Like I can take the metro to get up to like here, like on some chill shit. But I don't know, I think like the DMV truly is like what like reinforced like my growth as like a person, and as like like a creator. Yeah.
So for those that don't know, what do you do exactly?
Yeah, so I'm a filmmaker, specifically a documentarian. I want to like ideally, I'd love to like make my own like independent production studio. Ideally, actually in the DMV, which we can talk about this later, but I definitely think is like the future Hollywood, at least in the United States, just because of like how and I was talking about this with Tall. Well, like we were talking about the fact that like filmmakers and musicians in unlike any other city are so integrated here specifically because beyond even just like I'll film a music video or like I'll edit this interview or whatever, like I know, for example, there's that movie like Kings of DC, the World War Polo, the movie, right? Like 2.5 hours or something. That shit is like, all the people who star in that shit are rappers. It's rappers who like read off a script and are like acting in this like full ass production. And like, I feel like you can't really get that shit anywhere like else, right? Yeah.
I'm about to say, thinking about that, like, most of the people that you see in these movies nowadays are content creators and all that heebie-jeebie. Like, last time I really seen stuff like where artists were truly like leading the entertainment industry as a whole.
Yeah.
Was like back in the 90s when they were having like, their Fat Tuesdays and all the comedy nights, and then they'd have comedy night, then they'd have rappers come on and start performing. Like, I feel like that's what we're trying to get back to at some point, but maybe not yet because there's a lot of dissing going on. But
but that's right. Like especially in the DMV, I feel like if it really like unlock that mode of communication between like all kinds of artists, right? Like I know like comedians and shit, like whenever like I would like hang out with like producers or like rappers, like comedians are like hanging around them, And like that idea. That's why, like in the '90s, I felt like it was so seamless between like a comedian could approach like a rapper with a script and be like, yo, like I'd love for you to star in this. Like this is a funny like thing. Like you can even like make a couple songs to promote it, and it's like this very like natural like organic way of like promoting this shit. Just like Dogs of DC, for example, right? Like the person like who got like the screening together was like a club promoter, and like we decided to turn that shit into like a semi-listening party or whatever for like unreleased shit. Like it was so it's all like one like sort of like mesh of things.
Okay. So, what made you want to do this documentary, like the Dogs of DC documentary? That is.
Oh, bro, so much. I guess I should rewind to when I started listening to. It all started because I was listening to Paco Panama's music, and then I was listening to Paco because like my friend like Matt was like, yo, this guy's from like the DMV, like this shit, like his lyrics are crazy, like, and I don't know, they're so, and I remember like, you know, like how in like the medieval era, I guess like in any point in history, like each like city, like each polity, each like community has like their own like bard, their own like orator or whatever, like their poet, the town poet or whatever. I was like, that's totally Paco, right? Because like the references are so like so clever and deep and shit. That was like, oh, I fuck with the soundtrack. But I was just like, all right, so I'll let me like hit him up on like his Instagram live video and say like, yo, like I'd love to like make this documentary about you if you just like let me follow you around for like a couple months, right? And the first place that I met him was at Trackhouse version 1 in Brentwood, right? So I came and I was like, yo, where the fuck like am I? Like this is a crazy like place. And it was Colt and Bundles that were the ones like who I met before I even met Paco. They're like, yo, like blah blah, we should like tell you a little bit about like Trackhouse too. And I honestly thought this shit was gonna be like a 10-minute like low key like glorified like vlog. You know, like like in the studio with like Paco Panama, like these producers. But then like fucking Colt was like, yeah, bro, like I don't think you understand. This place used to be like the like center of like DMV hit making, like especially when Smoke was running it. And he told me about the fire and then Smoke getting killed, and I was like, hold up, what the fuck? Yeah. I was like, yo, this shit like has to be like a TV show, right? Cause like and all these like, cause like everyone is like involved, right? But I think like I talked about with Paco and stuff, and I knew that like. Especially considering that every time I came to film him, I was in Trackhouse, right? Like, this was gonna be, like, a collaborative effort between everyone. And I was telling Paco, I was like, yo, would you want this to be, like, a series of, like, 8-minute, like, vlog-type scenarios or, like, episodic-type things, right? And he was like, nah, like, this should be, like, a fucking, like, feature production, right? And then that's, like, it wasn't until, I think, like, halfway, or honestly, like, closer to the end of filming this project that, I figured out about his dad, Javier Panama Card, right? This guy is like a true DC OG, right? Like his story was like definitely straight out of like Scarface or The Godfather, where like he got this like older guy who was already established in the United States from Panama to get him into the game or whatever. Like I cut out so much shit about like how he was actually originally in Canada for a bit, but then like snuck in via like the back of like a car and shit. I'm talking a lot, but that's basically how it got started. It was just like, and every time I came in, like a story developed out of like that time, right? I was like, oh shit, like this is hard to keep up with. I mean, yeah, it was cool. Basically, like to wrap that up on how the whole thing got started. I think just the fact that like I thought it was filming like the Avengers, you know, like each member of Trackhouse was their like own Avenger, right? Like we were talking about this, like, Juvie's probably, like, the Captain America of this shit with all his, like, inspo speeches and shit. Like, I remember whenever I'd, like, point the camera to him, like, a thought would just come to his head, and then he'd be like, let me, like, drop some, like, life lessons, right? Or, like, you know, like, even, like, talking to Colt about, like, how Colt was, like, trying to, like, balance, like, the struggle of, like, you know, trying to be an artist, but also trying to be, like, an effective businessman, right? Like, it's honestly, I think, like, the biggest regret of, like, this whole project has been like I couldn't spend more time filming it, right? Because like every single person has like 10 other like episodes that they need for them, right?
Yeah, it's so funny that you say that. I I don't mean to cut you off, but
no,
so
that was
you
it,
gotta
that's
ask,
it.
like, did you have like a time limit to like when you were gonna like end this, or like?
Honestly, like, not really. I really wanted to like keep going for as long as I could. I was actually gonna like spend a lot more time filming, before I start editing. But obviously, like, I graduated and shit. So
Congrats, man.
yeah, and that was like really the like hard cap. And I remember I wanted to be in DC for at least like a month after this drop, so I could like take care of like promoting it, or like getting like a screening together and shit like that. So, I was like, okay, like before I graduate, before I leave DC and I move to LA, like I need to like figure out like how I'm gonna get this out. So yeah, it didn't feel rushed, but every time like I edited like a clip with someone, I was just like, fuck, like I should have like been here for a little bit like longer, or like I should have like kept this like footage rolling for a little bit more. But I don't know. Everything is 2020 in hindsight, right? So I just wish I had more time for this, and I also wish it was my full-time thing. You know, like instead of like having to do like classes or some shit. Like, but yeah.
So that's actually pretty interesting, because like I guess from a director's standpoint, like, what was your thought process while you were like editing and trying to build this documentary?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I feel like, especially like, I started doing like these like short unscripted videos like a little bit before I did Dogs of DC. Dogs of DC is my first ever feature film, right? But I was, doing these like mock-ups. I was trying to do something like humorous before Dogs of DC, like some comedy shit, because like, if you're broke and like you're trying to get into like filmmaking, doing anything unscripted and doing anything that's funny is like your best bet to get like a little bit of attention, right? And it's cool, right? Like I feel like most filmmakers are like naturally funny guys, like both of you, for example, right? Like the idea of letting something like flow naturally and then letting that be humorous was like my like was what I was coming into. Obviously, I think like all of us, I have very big aspirations as to like getting like whole crews together and like getting scripts together and shit. And like I said, my like goal is to make an independent like production studio and like be fine off of that. But shit, what was I gonna say? Yeah, like as a director, in making this like whole doc, I think like my main concern was not to impose myself into the feature, right? Like I wanted a very much like a fly on the wall, like non-linear way of like portraying like Paco's story, portraying Trackhouse's story. So the best way to do that is just to like hold the camera and just like film everyone doing what they're doing on the day-to-day. Like someone, for example, like shitting on your toilet seat or whatever. Like that's a great way to get like an insight into like how you guys act on the day-to-day, right? And that was my goal, right? Because like the whole point is like this shit is so crazy. Like I wish like you were here, watching this shit. And I was there watching this shit, right? So it's just like what I wanted someone else to be doing, like in my stead. But yeah, like I don't know. There's not much I can like contribute like as an artist myself. So I was just like, like I'll hold this and like interview people. But yeah, that's basically what informed my style as a director. And I won't even lie, like, as a disclaimer, like, I don't even feel like I directed this shit, right? Because, like, I was really just, like, standing around with, like, the camera. Maybe I could be, like, an editor on this, but, like, it was truly, like, everyone's sort of collaborative work.
I'm about to say, it was a lovely project, man. You're almost at, like, 10K already, bro. Like,
yeah, I thought it was going to get 300 views, bro. Like, I was like, what the
numbers,
fuck?
bro.
Yeah.
It's a great production, and, like, how would you say like going to school for it helped you in any way, shape, or form?
Fuck no. I feel like if anything, it was like definitely like a constraint on my time. I feel like college, like, I mean, I think everyone like who hears this will probably like agree with me. Like I've learned some valuable things in college, but not like I think it's a way for people like with money to like legitimize like their kids' places like in society, right? Like I've gone to school with like some serious like fucking dipshits, bro. Like people who like definitely do not know like an ounce of like poetry, or like cannot like pick apart like a stanza of like a bar or whatever. Like, but these like their parents, right? They like pay for their college, like they're now legitimized into like society, right? Because like they have the degree, and like that's how like they function. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful I have like this like name tag that says like, yo, like I have a college degree or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I think the only thing that it really like taught me about how to do any of this shit is like the antagonists, right? Like, who are the villains? Like, who pose like genuine like threats to like a culture or to like the organic way people communicate. And being able to like make fun of that and like make a satire of that, like for example, in Dogs of DC, when that like white girl was like trying to like talk shit to Paco outside of Blue Moon, right? That is literally like the archetype of like the white girl at Georgetown, bro. Like that's like so. I like immediately whipped out the camera. I'm like, nah, fuck this bitch. Like I'm trying to like expose like the fuck out of like the shit I have to deal with on a day to day. But yeah. So I think to answer your question, so I everything turns into a tangent for me. To answer your question, like
keep talking, bro.
I think like I don't know, definitely like what informed my collegiate experience was definitely just like coming like here like every like Saturday, every Friday, filming everyone. I just wish I could have done it like more often, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Damn. It's kind of crazy, bro. Like, I really thought school like taught you something about like.
I mean, like bro. Like, I don't want to shit. I have heavy respect for like OD academics, like the like super old professors with like crinkly hair, like who are like fucking like in their like stacks of books and shit, and like have like very like spectral levels of like socialization, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like people who like can't hold a conversation, those are the professors I respect, because at least they're dedicating themselves to like the acquisition of knowledge, right? Mm-hmm. All the professors I had, bro, like I studied like economics and shit. Oh my god, bro. Fucking like Napoleon, slim dick, short dick complexes all over the place. Like, I did not respect them. I did not respect them at all. I respect my Arabic professors though. They taught me a lot. But still, like, college helps you. I don't want to shit on college. Like, it's a great thing, but it didn't help me like really with like this. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know.
And that kind of actually brought me to a good point. Like, you were talking about like how you and your professors acted towards each other and treated each other. So like, how did that benefit? How did your How do you go about building relationships when you were, working with artists or trying to build this documentary?
Yeah, and I'll be like very real with you. Like, I mean, like, it's not even an elephant in the room because it's just obvious, right? Like, I am not like some OG like DMV like trap dude like out here like I'm not like post up at Geraldine Apartments or whatever over the road. So like I was just my most immediate fear was like, oh, like, which was understandable, right? Like I was like, what if these guys don't fuck with me? Mm-hmm. Because like if they don't, like this project is not gonna pan out, right? Mm-hmm. So like the first time I came to like Brentwood, I was like fuck. Like I had my camera, I was like shit, like I come from like an extraordinarily different background. Like I don't know like why like they would trust me with like making a project like this. And that was the most surprising thing about this entire project, right? Like the fact that like there was like that understood level of trust, right? Like Colt immediately was like, yeah, like film me, like keep the camera on when I'm saying this shit, like definitely just like get all of this, right? Get everything. Bundles too, obviously you, like just the fact that people were like willing to be like natural on camera. Sorry, you're gonna hate my answer, but I really don't know. I really don't know how like the trust was built, because like that's what I'm trying to figure out retrospectively. Like maybe I was just like, yeah. I think that like I said, to answer your question, there is no answer, right? Like only the Most High knows like how the fuck everyone came to like trust me, especially like holding a camera, right? And especially like when I was like in like especially when I'm in like sensitive situations, right? Like if like Bundles is talking to someone else about like, oh shit, like we're trying to not get this person like his face on camera because like he's like in a little bit of trouble right now and shit. Like the fact that they still were willing like to have me out here like holding all this equipment and shit when I'm not even like from the fucking community. That's like my biggest blessing, bro. Like I really do not know how like any of that shit is explained.
And what's funny? I think that like I feel like that just highlighted a little bit of like the DMV culture.
Absolutely.
A little bit, because
absolutely
there's so much hate that goes around, and like that's the narrative that the DMV is just full of hate. It's full of hate.
It's definitely not at all the DMV. I know.
Reality, I feel like most people just want to be loved around here, man, and we're very open to being loving and caring, but you know there is that aspect of you got to deal with opposition, you got to deal with adversity.
Yeah.
You know, we don't respond well to it. We're gonna be on your line. You know.
Yeah.
So I feel like that just highlights like you know kind of our culture and you know. Just along the aspects of you, you know, when I first met you, I thought, like, this is one of the most genuine guys I could have possibly met.
Chill.
You know, of course, I had that little thing in my head where I'm like, okay, he might have some secret agenda, but it's like, what secret agenda could you, like, have if you're not, like, trying to, like, close down our business or some weird stuff? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's like, you came with a genuine proposition. You did exactly what you said you were about to do. You didn't, like, sit here and lie and like pull up and just sit around and not film or nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you were there, you were working. You weren't like being mean or like shady to nobody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I appreciate that, bro.
I feel like it was just like being genuine and true to self and standing on business.
Bro, exactly.
I feel like that's what helped you really like get your face card good because you're always good here, bro.
I appreciate that, bro.
You can knock on that door anytime, and we're always gonna answer the door.
And that's the thing, right? Like I know that 100%, right? Like I think like intimacy, right, is like everywhere in this city, bro. I was talking to Paco's dad, and he's from fucking Panama, bro. And he was like, "Oh, I never went to a place where I so immediately felt like I was home, right?" And beyond that too, like. The reason I would want to like eventually come back to relocate and settle in DC, in the DMV generally, you know, even if that's like Maryland, is the fact that everyone here isn't the main character of a movie, but everyone here is definitely trying to like co-opt in this like bigger movie, right? And that sounds so fried and that sounds so stupid, but like it's sense. True, like it's true.
It makes total sense.
Like even like. On a much like more shallow scale, right? Even the fact that like hella politics and shit go on here, right? People are just like naturally like more like not theatrical, but like interesting. People are more interesting, and like there's like a big appreciation for like the nuances of different like stories, right? Like like this guy's more complex than you would think. Whereas like if you go to a place like, and no hate to the Bay Area, like obviously, but back home in the Bay Area, like people are like way more like reserved, and they're just like. I don't know, they're chill, but like I'm not super talkative, bro. Like, you know, like that's the thing, bro. Like it's all love here, bro. It's all love in the DMV, and that's why like definitely tugs at my heart to like leave here, you know. But I'll be back.
I agree with that emotional aspect 100%. Like I go up Baltimore, you know, people don't count Baltimore as a DMV, but I really feel like Baltimore and DC are so similar in the aspect of. We both love entirely too hard that it ends up breeding that, you know, kind of hate and opposition. When your love is kind of broken in that sense. And, you know, you can see it on the most extreme levels, of course, in DC and Baltimore because, you know, you're dealing with the extremes of everything where there's the more crime. Yeah. More everything. So, like, what's the future looking like for you? You got any newer projects on the way?
Yeah, actually, no. Low-key, after Dogs of DC dropped, I remember, like, I posted that shit on YouTube, and then I was sort of just like, shit. What the fuck do I do now? Because, like, bro, that's the thing, man. I still, like, this is my first, like, movie, you know? Like, I still don't really know, like, my trajectory, like especially as like a filmmaker. I want to absolutely get into something that like I don't know. This sounds kind of whack. So, I'm gonna spitball because like sound all my ideas. I was thinking of like I want to really get into this like niche space where I can like direct these sort of like crime thriller like fictional movies like scripted movies, but starring and like produced wholly by like artists and producers. Because that's the thing, bro. Like, I know producers can act. I know artists can act, bro. Like, that's like why in like music videos and shit, like they'll do the motions and shit unless they're like OD, like reserved or whatever. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, think about this, bro. Like, would you watch a movie about like Freddie Gibbs like being like this like 80s criminal in like Gary, Indiana. You know? Like that would be fire. 100%. That would be fire.
I actually 100% would watch
fucking Mad Lib soundtrack through that whole thing, it's a hit. It's a hit. Mm-hmm. Like, bro, that shit is like immediate Oscar. Or even fucking Oscar, bro. It's a hit.
I like what you're saying.
You know? Like, that's one idea. I definitely want to continue doing like the documentary work, because that shit, especially if like I'm only working by myself, I have no excuse not to do it, right? Because like I'm always gonna find like a story or whatever. But yeah, the future definitely. Who knows what the future can hold, bro? I don't know. I think like I just need to be like very serious about like this film shit. And I think like I need to produce like films at like a much like faster rate. But yeah, I would say that's basically it. You know, for now. Shit. I also definitely want to go international, bro. You know, like I studied Arabic and Japanese at Georgetown. I'm definitely trying to do some shit in Tokyo, like on the drag scene. You know, like the not like the drag queens, but like the drift. You know. I wonder if you know. Or like, I know there's like this like growing like trap scene in like Palestine right now. You know, like I think this label called Platinum Records or something. But anyways, like just like anyway like or like Platinum, because like Arabs can't say like P. You know. Yeah. So but yeah, like I don't know. Anywhere, bro. Like I don't know. Just give me a reason to be anywhere. I'll be there. You know.
No, for real.
Yeah.
So, you definitely sound like you got a lot on your plate. So, my question is, how do you manage it?
Shit, I don't know, bro. I don't know, bro. Like, that's a great question. I feel like if something is truly important to like any artist, like there comes like a moment of truth or like a reckoning where they know that like the project has to be the only thing, right? Like even if I like not that I was, but even if I was balancing Dogs of DC with like another film project, like if there's something in me that truly like connects and relates to like Dogs of DC as a project, like the only way it can be good is if everything else goes like behind, right? Like I definitely was like no longer going to class. Like, I was not in class, bro. I was no longer going to class, you know, like I was like being hella skimpy on like my jobs and shit. Like but it wasn't, there was never like the feeling of guilt or like, oh, like I'm a failure because I'm like not like attending to these other things, because I really knew like even like as long as I'm proud of like the work that I put out finally, like it would be so much like more worth like any tack on a GPA I would have gotten, right? No. So in terms of balancing it, when I have a lot on your plate, just like, you know, throw out the potatoes, bro. Keep the meat. Pause. But like, you know what I'm saying? You know, just like.
I shouldn't have laughed.
I was basically saying like, in terms of like as an artist, like especially like, and this is specifically to like, actually no, this is to any artist, honestly. Like, especially as an artist, if you have a lot of things on your plate, when you want a work of art to truly be great, it is gonna eventually like take the toe over everything else. You know, every other aspect of your life. You know, like your friends are gonna like hate. They're gonna be like, "Yo, like why are you not around enough? Like, you're gonna skip on your job. You're definitely not gonna fucking go to school, bro. I can assure you that. But it's gonna be worth it, bro. Cause like you're gonna like." Beyond the fact that you've made like a fucking like piece of work like as an artist, and like you can now say that you are an artist, beyond that you would think of all the shit you threw out as like the cost, right? It's like, I know this is valuable. Why? Like the price of this is like everything I fucking threw out while I was doing it. But and that makes it sound dramatic. It's really not that deep, but still, you know what I'm saying? Like that's basically it. Yeah, bro. And honestly, like, yeah, that was basically it. Yeah.
So I guess touching back a little bit more on Paco.
Yeah.
I'm a bit curious. So like, what made you pick Paco out of all the DMV artists?
Bro, he's like my favorite rapper. Like I just like I feel like I've never listened to an artist like who's connected so many like intergenerational ideas into such like short and clever wordplay. You know, I'm just trying to think of. I mean, like, obviously he has some lines like, "Oh yeah, I put the drugs in her ass because it's big." Like, that's fine. But like, he has some. Oh shit! No, I'm blanking. Well, you gotta cut this. You need to, when you edit, you have to cut this. There's this one. Yeah, it was in Coffee Donuts, where he was like, I just cooked me up some shit that left him like stuck like a statue. I was trapped in the Capitol, and now I'm rocking Capitol or whatever. Like shit like that. Like, I don't know. There's just so much shit where like he connects things that have like such historical relevance, right? Especially to like the war on drugs, or like DC being like the murder capital, to like, you know, like trapping like in the modern day, to being like a man in like the modern day, navigating your own problems and shit. And like his music is like very inspiring, I feel, to like anyone, right? Because his whole shit is about like getting paper. Like you like you gotta get on your shit. But I mean, beyond all of that, like, you know, he was like a DMV artist. I thought his there truly is no other rapper, I think, that like sounds like him. You know, like you can't point to some like Detroit fucker and be like, oh, because he has some like beats that sound like Detroit beats, like he sounds like a Detroit rapper. Not at all, bro. Like the fuck, like he is his own thing. You know, yeah. But yeah, I think that's definitely why I chose him.
Would you say there are like other people like en route to like being like that in the DMV, or would you say they got a ways to go?
I mean, not even en route, because I think he's already there, but definitely Smoke Chapo. You know, like over the counter, like fucking mind blowing project. You know, like I think
for real, man.
that shit like Smoke Chop like it. I think like Smoke Chapo definitely very similar to Paco Panama in the way that there's like no flow that sounds like his. Right? And there's no sound that sounds like his. So I think Smoke Chapo is already there too, you know? I would say definitely him. I feel just like, and like you could totally tell like the collaborative process between the two, between like you and Colt and like everyone, Juvie, like, it's just very clear that there's like that cohesive network, right? But, yeah, bro, shit, just no one sounds like them.
You were talking about the network a little bit, and it just brought to my mind, like, you know, a lot of people be wondering how do they get their foot in these doors and stuff like that. So how would you say would be the best route for someone who's like new, upcoming, and trying to get in the music scene, whether it's entertainment, production, rapping, like, what would you suggest is the best thing for them to do to get their foot in the door?
Bro, just like sit back, you know, and get to know everyone's name, obviously. Everyone's gonna tell you, like, I'm sure, like, especially on Noted, like, and I've seen, like, interviews from here before, right? Like, the one, like, bottom line is you fucking need to network, bro. Like, you need to, like, know other people. But more than that, I feel like definitely stay loyal to, like, one collective, right? Like, if you, like, integrate yourself naturally into, like a group, like, for example, Track House, right? If it wasn't for Track House, like, I wouldn't have been able to meet, like, a lot of people that I think are, like, well, like, put in, like, the creative DMV community, right? And always, like, start off, like, in any sort of artistic community, always start off trying to be a supporter, not like someone who's occupying any limelight, right? Like, that, like, I remember when I made the credits for Dogs of DC, for example, I totally fucking forgot to put my name in, right? Because, like, my whole thing was, I'm gonna get my name out there if, like, I support, like, these other people, right? And as, like, a supporting character, like, I'll get my time, you know, like, I'll get, like, a moment for myself. But, like, never go in trying to network thinking about your moment yet, you know? Because I just have faith that it'll happen, you know, if you're supporting other people. Does that make sense? I feel like I could have explained that better.
That made total sense, bro. I'm not even about to lie.
Like, sit back and take everything in, and always support. Always be a supporter.
You got any questions, Mike?
Also, sorry, I do want to say another thing. Fucking, especially with, like, you, Mike, right? Like, I learned, like, a lot of technical ability when it came to filming through this whole project, right? Especially through people that I met doing not only, like, interview bits, but, like, music videos as well, right? Like, 95, shit, now of course I'm blanking, bro. But like literally everyone, like anyone that's made like a music video for Paco, for example, in like the last like 6 months, I guarantee you, each and every single one of them have taught me something crazy about like how to be like a filmmaker, right? Like even like watching like the process of like Sean make a beat with Colt, right? Like that's like getting like being just involved in that space is so energizing, and I think that's like as an artist, that's like the only thing you should like see. You know, it's like how you know, monks or whatever, like their main goal is unity with God, right? And like as an artist, like your like goal should be like the unity with like everyone's like collaborative effort. You know, like as a filmmaker, you shouldn't be like I'm trying to be like the best like filmmaker that I like can be. Right? like I don't know, like just get like a valuable experience, bro. You know, die with something on your record, right? Like die with something like that you can say like I'm done. You know,
not for real. All right, just real quick, you know, was there anyone that you wanted to shout out, or you know, bro, any last gems you wanted to drop?
Dude, shout out Paco Panama, shout out D Money, shout out Smoke Chapo, shout out Jizzle, shout out every fucking person in Trackhouse, bro. Shout out you, shout out Mike, shout out Hentai, shout out Colt, shout out Juvie, shout out Queenie, shout out Tall, like. Bro, everyone, bro, like every single one. I'm like nothing without like all that shit, bro. Like truly.
Bro, appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming out, man.
Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. I know that we're all into great things, bro. And like at the end of the day, like nothing can ever put me off like that sort of faith, right? Everything is gonna like be great. You know.
For real, that's for the people right there. Make sure y'all take y'all notes.
This is crack cocaine, seized a few days ago by drug enforcement agents. It's as innocent looking as candy.
It's not very polite. I wish you good luck. You don't wish you back to me.
Making moves without the ball, feel like I'm old chef. In the trenches selling blow, like I'm Johnny Depp. They steady asking why them crackers ain't signed me yet. But truth be told, they don't know what